having hope to do it. Maybe I'm talking from a
Have you given up hope?
no. I'm not giving up. I'm from a very very deep point of desperation.
And I mean, if Bassem Youssef Doctor is watching this, which is probably like a 0.01% chance, but I would just say people need you to not be despair. People need you to not just be so cynical, be so just down, because we need to look at you and be like, hey, if he still got some hope, if he still got some battle plan, then what am I complaining about? So one thing that we can't continue doing is comparing the Republican Party to the Democratic Party and saying that they're both the same. Like, before you comment, trust me, I know what you're going to say. The Democratic Party don't have your best interests. The Republican Party don't have your best interests. They're both a part of the same ruling class, and they're both part of the political empire, only pushing, a certain agenda. To a certain extent, I agree with you. I understand that. Trust me, like I said, when I started this YouTube channel, I was a Democrat. Very little knowledge, but for the most part, I knew I was a Democrat. And that's what I believe, because a lot of my social policies that I'm pushing for, and even 2 years ago, were more progressive. So I easily fell into that spot. But when I started to really dig deeper into politics and just really getting familiar with faces, I understood that the Democratic Party ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they ain't worth anything. But also, the Republican Party times 10. And if you've been living under a rock or just like really disconnected to everything that's social media, over the past 8 years, the Republican Party on purpose has transformed into a different party than what I mean, with Reagan, Nixon, like they've always been a bunch of racist, individuals. But it feels like today they're more proud about it. And they know that they're going to get support if they just take off the filters. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm racist and I want you to know that. So it's just like, when you're talking about football, I'm a Bronco fan and you're a Raiders fan. And you ask me, well, which team is better? And if I answered you, well, I mean, they're both football teams, so who really cares? Then you're going to look at me because you're a fanatic football fan. You're going to be like, well, I guess they're both football teams. But if you look at the statistics, if you look at the historical win rate or how many Super Bowls your team won versus mine, obviously my team is better than yours. So it's like we need to be able to dig a little deeper into the details so we can understand, yes, the Democratic Party ain't shit, but if we leave it to the Republicans, kiss that ass goodbye. Easy. So let's go ahead. I know that was a long intro, but let's go ahead and listen to Bassem Youssef and Mehdi Hassan, two of my favorite people. Let's hear them kind of engage in a conversation, essentially what we were just talking about now, or I guess me just talking to you, unless you're commenting in. Okay, whatever. All right, let's go ahead and take a listen.
But it doesn't matter, because those politicians don't get their campaigns funded by the public. They don't get funded by the college protesters. They are not important. Their loyalty to the military, pharmaceutical, Christian evangelical, and Israel. And the fact, if you have something like AIPAC that funds 80% of Congress, what does that tell you? It tells you that our American government is not for the American people. And this is why I have maybe a disagreement with your position.
Okay, what's my position?
Like, I mean, like, you know, and I don't want to be assuming, but I know that you got a lot of heat.
Good.
For supporting Harris, or at least wanting to
stop Trump.
Stop Trump.
My position is stop Trump.
Stop Trump, and
who's
for you, stop.
Who's
Trump.
a big character in your show today, I know.
And for me, like when people tell me Harris or Biden, I said like, sorry, Harris or Trump. At the beginning, I said like I want Biden to lose, and then I say it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, and I'm really I came to America a few years ago and I became a citizen in 2019. And the first thing I did, they gave me this form to register as a voter, and I was very excited. I voted in the local elections in my city. I voted the congressman. And then I say like, it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter, and I know I understand why people were disenfranchised.
So before he continues, and you know, I watched this one, so I kind of understand where Mehdi is coming from, but that is a dangerous spot to be in. You know what I'm saying? If you know, like we said at the top of this video, you were a Democratic voter and you realize they're not doing what they're supposed to do. You're voting and you're getting nothing or very little back into return. That can cause rebellion. And I understand it because I was there myself maybe a year ago. But then once I start realizing, you know, policies and how that is implemented and who's implementing these policies and legislation that can, you know, have years and years of a ripple effect, it's like it does matter. You know, like for the Palestinian people, for Gaza or the West Bank or Lebanon, like we understand the Democratic Party is assisting in a genocide. We can say that. And we can protest. Got you. Will anything happen? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But it's possible. But you know what's not possible? When Trump is in office and they have a campaign to wipe Gaza off the map, ASAP, then they're going for the West Bank. What do you think is going to happen to Lebanon? They're going to do that on purpose. Trump is emboldened to do that because, one, he has a lot of money on the line. So he's going to do that because that profits him at the end of the day. And that's the only thing that motivates him. So you tell me which option is the better choice. But unfortunately, it doesn't matter what your answer is because we already got Donald Trump. So we can only hope and pray that people in that Congress stops him from doing his worst. That's the only thing we can do.
And I know I understand why people were disenfranchised in the Middle East, because they know that my vote doesn't matter. Your vote doesn't matter because our tax money is being given to finance a war that we didn't vote for because those politicians are being funded by people we didn't approve. You have Republicans and Democrats fighting tooth and nail on abortion, gun rights, climate change,
but
education, healthcare, but 100 to 0.
Did you ever see the clip of Nancy Pelosi where, I think we can play it, she says, she's with Chuck Schumer, and she says, if Congress burned to the ground, the only one issue we'd still agree on is Israel. Her words.
I have said to people when they ask me, if this Capitol crumbled to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to our aid, and I don't even call it aid, our cooperation with Israel.
So if that is
that right there, when I first seen that gave me giggle bumps. You know what I'm saying? Like it hurt in my soul. You know what I'm saying? And like I told you, for the past maybe 5 months, about 4 months, I've been educating myself on the Israel-Palestine conflict, and hearing that raises a lot more red flags than, Jerome 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's unsettling to hear something like that. And she's supposed to be a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get into it in this video, but there's slowly becoming a separation, just like the Republican Party, with your, more moderate Republicans, the actual conservatives. And then you have your MAGA. Like those are two separate fractions within the same party. And I'm starting to see that in the Democratic Party. So there you go.
True. So we need to really reconsider and recalibrate the country that we're living in. This illusion of free speech is not. When, yes, you are allowed to say what you want, but you will have pro-Israel billionaires going out of their way to destroy your career in the college if you speak up.
Bill Ackman.
Yeah.
And now Elon Musk has joined.
Yeah. So the thing is, all of this thing of like, this is
Did you see what, I got to bring that up because you just mentioned it. Just before I came here, I saw Bill Ackman went after the Weather Channel. I don't know if you saw this. So the Weather Channel had an ad on the subway of a young Arab woman wearing a kufiya. And he said, this is anti-Semitic. And the Weather Channel did a groveling apology on Twitter saying, we're very sorry. We didn't mean to be anti-Semitic or offensive. So now just expressing.
And just based off that, we always have these conservatives, these Republican voters, always crying about the First Amendment. Always talking about the government censoring people, being able to say what you want, how you want, when you want. If it's borderline hate speech, some people would prefer that. But when it comes to situations like that, when it comes to standing up for innocent Palestinian people, just putting a picture, Jesus Christ, the picture's not going to jump out the picture and just start killing people. You know what I'm saying? It's not like if you look at it too long, you're just going to like die instantly, and they had to take it down and then issue like a paragraph long apology. So where's all these First Amendment freaks out there? They're not going to be saying nothing about that. Guarantee you not. So once again, I get tired of these people always crying and complaining about the First Amendment and freedom of speech. But when it's other people's freedom of speech being canceled, they don't say nothing. Oh, so because it's just about you. And that's all you worried about, right? So there you go.
Your Arabness or your Palestinianness through dress in the land of free speech is deemed anti-Semitic. And you have billionaires pressuring private corporations to come out and give apologies on this.
And you will have that being written in the law, the anti-Semitic bill that didn't pass the Senate, but it didn't pass today. It might pass tomorrow. It may be criticizing Israel will be anti-Semitic.
So let me push back. Let me push back on you 1 second here.
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I'm cynical. I'm not as cynical as you. I'll tell you why. There are 100 members of Congress who have called for a ceasefire in Gaza. 100, I think 75 to 100. Ballpark. How many of them are Republicans?
I don't think anyone.
Zero.
Yeah.
So I don't think so there are actually people still trying to do some good. We can argue how much good that is. There's gradations. What I would say is, I don't want to end up as a business, this is my personal view, where we're so nihilistic, where we say, plague on all of them, they're all bad, stay at home, don't bother to be politically engaged. When actually, I look at Jamal Bowman.
And that, to me, is exactly what happened in this past election. So many people got into that dark corner to where they said, screw the Republican Party, screw the Democratic Party, I'm just not going to participate in this thing called voting. And then when, unfortunately, the racist in chief gets in there, once again, now, just because you didn't vote, guess what? Politics is still going to mess with you, to say it kindly. And I didn't make this quote up. I got it from Phil DeFranco. But he said, just because you don't mess with politics doesn't mean politics won't mess with you. And that's real. Just because you didn't vote doesn't mean that you're going to be excluded in whatever policies or laws that Trump implements in America. It's still going to affect you. whether you like it or not. Like, you would literally have to move out the country, and even then, with America imperialism just having its fingers in like everything, it is still going to affect you in some way, shape, or form. So what did you accomplish by not voting? Oh, to make you feel good, so you think you can sleep good at night. Well, guess what? I hope so. I hope it was worth it, because your inaction is causing a reaction to everybody else around you. So being selfish, man, sometimes that doesn't work.
And Cory Bush, $23 million AIPAC spent to defeat these. When actually I look at Jamal Bowman and Cory Bush, $23 million AIPAC spent to defeat these two members of Congress in Missouri and New York, right? Two black Christians, they're not Arabs, they're not Muslims, basically sacrificed their political careers to stand up for the people of Gaza in this historic year. They were on the right side of history. AIPAC and others helped take them down. I think people like that deserve our support. I don't think we should just say plague on all your houses. Do you disagree?
No, listen.
And let me elaborate on that, because this is my YouTube channel. This is my video. So let me elaborate. We have the AOCs, which I guess could be questionable, but still, the Bernie Sanders, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Cory Bush, Jayapal. Like, we have, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty others. If I missed any, let me know in the comments down below, because I need to start gathering these names so I can kind of track on what they're doing, if I just don't see it. But we need to make sure that we're allying ourselves with these type of individuals. You know what I'm saying? Because if they're not falling in line, which I'm pretty sure would be easy. Hey, AIPAC, I want to win my seat. So what do I got to do to make sure you guys don't beat me? Like, it's simple, and you might get paid for it. But these individuals are putting their careers on the lines to not be a part of that machine to the best that they can anyways. So we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater on this one, especially. You know what I'm saying? And there's zero Republicans that's requesting a ceasefire in any way, shape, or form. So once again, the parties are not the same. On a surface level, sure, got you. But once you start digging into the details, then you start to see, hey, whoa, I need to suck it up and make sure that I'm not causing a real, for no reason type of pressure on my own life. Simple.
What you're doing, I know that you have a great point in doing it. I'm not disagreeing with you as like I'm opposing your opinion.
No, forget my opinion. I'm just saying, are you saying plague on everyone?
No. I'm just saying that maybe I don't have your tenacity and your perseverance in order to maybe because I come from a very long history of being disenfranchised by democracy. And being gaslit. And I come here, it's like, I found it, and then maybe I don't find it in me anymore.
You disappointed?
Yes. So, yeah, maybe you have more, like, actually, I condone you. Is that the word? Like, I appreciate you.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you still having hope to do it. Maybe I'm talking from
Have you given up hope?
No, I'm not giving up. I'm from a very, very, very deep point of desperation.
And I mean, if Bassem Youssef Doctor is watching this, which is probably like a 0.01% chance, but I would just say people need you to not be despair. People need you to not just be so cynical, be so just down, because we need to look at you and be like, hey, if he still got some hope, if he still got some battle plan, then what am I complaining about? Let me make sure that I'm geared up. Let me make sure that I'm ready for the next local elections or the next 4 years. Let me make sure that I'm mentally and physically and knowledgeable to make the right decision in X, Y, and Z. Or let me make sure that I, for myself with this podcast here, let me make sure that I'm continuously battling misinformation and these clowns like Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and the rest of them. Let me make sure that I'm steadily fighting the good fight. You know what I'm saying? But if people like you, who I would assume know more about particular situations or conversations, if you are kind of throwing in the towel, then you leave folks like me hanging. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a football team, and if the tight end is starting to complain and doesn't want to continue to fight, and we're only in the second quarter here, and you already want to call it quits, well, you leaving the rest of your team hanging. You know what I'm saying? This game is far from over. It's still winnable, but we need to make sure we're staying just ready. And the only way that you can stay ready is to stay vigilant, stay knowledgeable about politics, government, economics, numbers, data, everything. And then share that with people that you know. That's simple.
And I don't know, how can you counteract the humongous effect of billionaires who are putting billions in order to buy politicians, to buy media outlets? You have Elon Musk, and you see our posts on social media being
I'm not
policed,
disagreeing with
but
your
the thing
analysis.
is,
I'm with you on the analysis.
I'm not talking. Listen, it's not like a who's right or who's wrong.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm speaking to you from a very
100%.
emotional point of
Same.
view, that I don't know how can we beat Goliath. They having people with Palestinian flag on their shirts being picked up in the streets in Germany. This could be New York tomorrow. If you have the Weather Channel apologizing for putting a picture of a guy with a keffiyeh, tomorrow you'll not be allowed to walk on the streets with a keffiyeh.
No, that is dangerous. But I'll tell you what,
I'm not saying that.
I'm not disagreeing with what your analysis of how bad it is.
I don't know how to get out with this.
I mean, okay, so let me try and put a counter case. What about all of the positive signs we have seen over the past year of the energy, the people supporting Palestinians globally, the college protesters, the shift in the polls on ceasefire and arms embargo, new politicians standing up and saying genocide on the floor of the House? What about that?
Can I give you a very dystopian outlook? None of those college people will make it to politics.
Their careers will be destroyed.
Their career will be destroyed. We have seen the deterioration of the political and the media class in the past few decades. That's why we don't have another call from Reagan. That's why we don't.
It's weird, Bassem, because we started this show with you telling me I'm a super depressing person, but you've made me more depressed than I've ever been today.
Yes. That was switched. You see how I did?
Switched.
And which is weird. I have met people like that I thought I was, cynical about everything until I met someone who's a little bit more than myself, which made me think, hey, I still got a little hope, But to kind of somewhat try to answer his question is, throughout American history for sure, the people always, at the end of it, progressed with or without billionaires. The civil rights movement, best example in the world. It took a lot of beatings. It took a lot of fighting. It took people literally giving their lives for a cause, for other people. So it just depends on how much are you willing to give to make sure, X, Y, and Z, or for this conversation, the Palestinian people still have a voice. Are you willing to go out there and say free Palestine and not worry about getting arrested or getting beaten or getting sued or whatever the case is? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to be on YouTube and say Israel is committing a genocide on innocent Palestinian people. Are you willing to do that? So throughout history, and I'm pretty sure this happened worldwide, nothing for the positive gets changed just by sitting on the sideline. Sometimes you got to do some things that makes you uncomfortable. Sometimes you got to sacrifice a lot. But if you have that vision, if you have that goal, that's going to come to pass. And we can look at history for that. Because I would not be here standing and looking at this camera saying what I'm saying. So sometimes, Yosef, you just got to put your back into it.
You see how I got you in?
Yeah.
but no, listen, talk.
You said therapy, right?
No,
you said
no,
you said therapy earlier. Let me flip. Okay, so let me flip it.
Okay.
You know how I don't give up hope? Mm-hmm. I have faith in God.
Jamil, that's amazing. But and I hope that faith will.
Because despair is for all of us.
But
you don't think I've despaired for the last year? But you know what I've been through.
Here's my thing. I am looking at a very dystopian future.
I don't dispute that possibility.
The social media algorithms will limit your reach to the same people that you're talking to, limiting any effect and any change of the status quo. And you will see the political systems being taken over more and more and more by the oligarchs and the people with money, and that will serve their agendas. And all of the people that, like all of these dissents, will be easily contained, separated, the same way that they do now in the West Bank, into little settlements being surrounded by people, and they will be put under siege with the money and the power. The career will be, and then you will be only allowed to exist in a fringe, in some sort of a digital algorithm, while the whole world around you will be falling apart, and you will be like talking to each other in an echo chamber, while tomorrow they can take country after country, they can do whatever kind of destruction they want because they have the money and the power to do so.
So what does Bassem Youssef do in that situation?
I don't know. I'm trying to laugh on stage until I die.
You're doing more than that. I love the fake modest. I'm just laughing on stage. No, you're not. You're a powerhouse. You're doing interviews. You're talking politics. Nobody expected you to be this political this year. You're getting attacked.
But I see. Here's the thing. Okay, it's a game. It's a game. Look what happened October 7th. Right? I'm gonna go back to October 7th for one moment in time. They went back with the big thing: decapitated babies, rape. That was enough to do the first shockwave. By the time that those lies have been exposed, already a big part of the massive amount of people have checked out. Yes, because no one has been following Gaza for a year. Now they're back to their NFLs, they're back to the NBAs, they're back to their Netflix, they're back to the entertainment. And then every now and then, when they check in, they will find Jake Tapper, rape. They will find BBC. Decapitated babies. Oh, it's still the same. There's no reason for me to change my initial.
Okay, so this is where I would slightly disagree, because we can't even see it in numbers. We can't even see with the campaign that Trump ran. When how many times did he appear on the mainstream media platforms? 1, 2, maybe 3 times, if I can recall right now. But how many personal YouTube podcasts, Twitch podcasts, and Rumble or whatever? Like, that's where the people are listening. That's where the people are watching. And if we can get channels like this, there you go. Go ahead and subscribe, become a member. If Democrats or people who are not establishments can create a platform to where people can get real news that's not bought and paid for, that can make a difference, because those people are watching, channels like mine instead of CNN, because they know that they're bought and paid for to say a certain thing, to have a certain mood, to kind of persuade you in a certain way. Folks like myself, regular folks who still work a 9 to 5, still paying taxes, crazy taxes. I'm just going to tell you the life that I live in my perspective. Real simple. No one's paying these pockets. Trust me. If they are, I haven't seen the check yet. It's probably lost in the mail somewhere. I don't know. So I would kind of push back and say we have the ability and the resources and the technology to create our own platform to reach millions of people. I only been on YouTube 2 years and I took 10 months off. So really just a solid year and some change. And I've already reached almost 3 million people. I mean, probably half of them don't like me. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, the kind of content that I make. But they at least know that there's people who has opposing understanding, opinions, beliefs, anything, than what's the status quo out there. At least the platform is doing what it's supposed to do, and that's reach people every single day. And Mr. Youssef, you have to apply yourself. Stop depending on CNN and Fox News and MSNBC to do that for you, because they're not going to do that. You have to do it. There you go.
So the thing is, the people who have stayed, the people who have stayed talking, we're talking to ourselves, to a very limited amount of people, while the massive amount of people were there enough to be there for the election. You see how the Palestinian people were booed in the democratic parties. That was a reflection of the massive amount of people of the United States who took the first wave of shock and then checked out. And this is why I'm telling you, and maybe I'm talking out of despair, maybe I'm talking out of realism, but this is it.
So let me be the therapist today.
Yes.
We'll switch. I thought it was going to be the other end. At the beginning, it was a very dangerous road where I thought I was going to have to be on the couch. But you're on the couch. So let me be therapist.
Both of us are on the couch, dude.
Let's be therapist / counselor / your spiritual advisor. If you take that position, and it's a very understandable position. I've felt that too. Let's just be clear. I think many of us have felt the fatalism, the despair. Things are getting worse. How can you not when you see kids being pulled from the rubble, when you're seeing now Lebanese children being killed? Of course. But isn't that what they want, the other side? They want you to despair. They want you to succumb to a fatalism. They want you to say nothing can be done. And then they win. Yeah. So I refuse to let them win.
Yeah, that's cool.
Is that stupid? Am I dumb?
No. I mean, it's
I look at South Africa, you know, apartheid. It's never going to end until it ended, right? Until it's done, as the phrase goes.
This time the enemy is not South Africa. It's not the.
It's social media algorithms.
No, it is some of the most immoral humans ever. That have no problem inflicting pain. I have never seen people who have absolutely no respect or regards to human life, and who would do whatever they want, having all that. The South Africa didn't have the media cover that Israel has.
That's very true.
This is what we have, is a huge monster, a nuclear monster that is being protected by a bigger monster. And they are inflicting all of the pain. I mean, you take one look of the White House spokesman and how the smug on their faces and how they look at you and how they just like, they give you the no answer.
The racism and the dehumanization is
forget about the isms. Yeah. Forget about the isms. This is like an absolute domination and absolute disregard of human life. And they have people tweeting, "I stand with Israel," more than they tweeted their solidarity with the people in North Carolina for the hurricanes. It's just, they're telling you, we care about Israel more than we care about American public, and they're still in power. And just like, my thing is like, how can they engineered this scene for everybody to see, and still people are okay with it? I don't
think people are okay with it, but as you say, there's a disconnect, right? The media and politics is not representing the people. That's part of the crisis, the breakdown in trust. You go back to the Iraq War, the financial crisis, multiple episodes where there's a huge gap between the people in power and the people on the streets. And yeah, I actually think it will end very badly, because I think that the complete disregard for public opinion is going to come and bite them on the arse.
All right, perfect. And we're going to stop right there. Once again, if you guys want to see that entire interview, it's probably like, 10 minutes left. I highly suggest, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this channel, you know who that is. You know Zentel. Go ahead, watch the rest of that. But we need to make sure then we're not alienating ourselves. And like I said at the top of this video, if you are involved in politics or not, politics is going to be all up in your business at the end of the day. So you might as well educate yourself to the extent that you want to make sure that you're making a knowledgeable choice at the end of the day. I mean, it's important that we make sure that we're not discounting people, because at the end of the day, it takes the people to get society where it needs to be. Once again, if you look at history, American history, all up and down that, it's never been the government to do something first that benefits the marginalized, the poor people. It's always the people that rises up and forces the government to do something. That's not going to change today. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, we don't have just the luxury of just tweeting something and then the next day everything is good. No, you still got to get your hands dirty. You still got to go out there, talk to people, and network. And that's how change at least starts to happen. You know, but once again, if you guys disagree with anything that I said, or you do agree, go ahead, hit the Discord link down below so we can have that one-on-one talk. Or let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below. And like always, let's have a conversation.